Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of SwingBadder. We have a special guest with us tonight. Aidan Lemieux is with us from Texas, and he is one of our writers on battersports.com. He writes for the Texas Rangers as well as the whole AL West. You're kind of interested in to see how Texas does and performs against them. You have a week in review, so you've recapped the first week and you recapped the second week. What are the highlights of your article to make people go and check out the article at battersports.com? And again, thanks for joining us here so we can kind of go through some of your writings.
So I think the biggest thing involving the Rangers so far has just kind of been how shocking they are with their record, the contrast between their record and their run differential. Going back to my first article, their first, 14 games, run differential of -10, which is really shocking for a team that's 9-5.
Not good.
Yeah.
You don't win a lot of games with a -10.
Yeah. You expect that to see something like the Rockies, like a -10 run differential is something with a 5-9 team or something, but this is highly unusual, especially given the Rangers' offense in the past. They're typically known for, especially in their 2023 run, they would score runs in bunches. They would win games by scoring runs and score 4 or 5 runs in like the third or fourth inning, and then, their pitching wouldn't have to do much after that point. They would put the pressure on the opposing team. And I think that has kind of changed over the past year and a half now, because the last year they had like 10 walk-off wins. A lot of their wins, even though they didn't have as nearly as many as they did in 2023, a lot of them were close. So they're just not putting as much pressure on opposing teams as they used to. But I think they're starting to excel in that environment, especially with guys like Garcia, who just love to be in the big spotlight. He had a walk-off home run. It was a few days ago against the Dodgers in a 4-3 win. That was nice. But
beating the Dodgers,
interesting stuff there.
Pretty nice. What would you say for the Texas Rangers fan? And again, the AL West kind of bunched up right now. No one's really jumped out way ahead or way behind. What would you say your biggest surprise so far of the team's performance? Has it been the pitching or the hitting? Which would you say? And then which pitcher would you like to highlight and hitter you'd like to highlight that you think are really doing well for the Texas Rangers?
Their pitching's been great. Evaldi, DeGrom, Mahle, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Tyler Mahle. He's leading the MLB in ERA right now, if I can check MLB stat.
Yeah, and you guys signed him in 2024. He had a shoulder injury and didn't play. So you signed him for a 2-year deal, and then you picked him up, obviously, out of, I believe, Cincinnati. Picked him up from the Reds. He was not known for this. He's not known to have like a low ERA. He's a serviceable pitcher, but he's lights out. He's lights out right now. Like his stats,
0.68 ERA.
That's crazy. And I think it's like his strikeout to walk ratio is insanely great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you highlighted that in the article. I think he's one of the highlighted pitchers because you had DeGrom coming back, which everyone was excited about, and he's been healthy. But
yeah, he's been pretty good so far.
Nobody penciled this guy in as like an ace.
Yeah, totally.
And what was it? The Dodger game? It was they lost 1-0, but he shut the Dodgers lineup down, which is saying something.
Yeah, 2 hits, 7 innings.
Yep.
It's pretty incredible against that offensive line. I mean, they didn't have Ohtani, but still, they've got 5 other All-Stars in that lineup.
Damn, backup All-Stars. Let's face reality. Did I tell you I went on a plane ride and I had a plane ride with a minor league scout, and we were talking about like which teams are loaded and which teams aren't. I think it was 2 years ago, and he said the Dodgers are so loaded in the minor leagues. I said, the Dodgers are loaded in the major leagues. I said, how does this make sense? He goes, because they can sign them minor league players to certain deals and spend more money. He said the other thing the Dodgers have, they have this great catcher, Will Smith. I know you've watched him through the years.
Yes,
He's unbelievable, and he's in his 20s. He told me Dodgers have 2 catchers in their farm system that are legit amazing, that they either have to move positions to make it to the show, or they got to trade them. And I'm like, can you imagine you work your whole life, you're a great catcher, you get signed by the Dodgers. You're like, I'm going to be a Dodger. And then Will Smith is happening, and you're like, I may never play unless they trade me. And then why would the Dodgers trade you? So you have to change your position, or you got to figure it out. It's just like, I was just thinking, I'm like, God, I never thought about that as a minor league player as getting blocked by the major league player. But again, timing, there's so much to life about timing, right situation, right time. And Will Smith is amazing. So obviously the Dodgers aren't about to trade him or get rid of him. They just signed him, and he's legit, doesn't even get hurt, looks really great. So Texas is currently sitting, I believe, first in the American League West.
Yes, they are. What's interesting is they're only 3 games ahead of the A's, who are in 5th place with 10-12 records. So
it's a formula. It's a NASCAR race,
yes,
bumper to
100%.
bumper. Not 20 games in. We like to talk about things as we get to 40 games. I like your week recaps. Who's the batter? I think you mentioned a batter in your article that you were pretty impressed with, and their batting hasn't been great, but you have somebody who's been lights out.
Batter, Josh Smith.
Yes, there he is. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's been. The crazy thing is last year, tons of guys were getting injured. Langford got injured. Young got injured. Semien wasn't playing all the time. Seager was injured for a short period of time. Carter has 70-year-old grandma back issues. And so Josh Smith had to step up, and he's been like one of the best players on the team. I think last year he had like 4 WAR or something. He puts up a solid OPS. He's getting on base every game. I mean, he's just doing exactly what he needs to do as kind of like that backup utility guy. He's probably right now one of the most valuable guys on the team because, if you have an injury-prone lineup like was demonstrated last year, somebody like him is just essential. Even if it may not pop on the baseball card,
So if you're looking at it from a Ranger fan, you had the highest of the highs. You beat the Diamondbacks in the World Series 2 years ago. It's fantastic. Then last year, it would be otherly described as just a dud of a year. They just never got it going.
Yeah.
They had a couple injuries, or to your point, several injuries. But the other thing is they weren't winning the close games. They weren't really getting blown out. They just didn't ever put it together, and then they just kind of shrunk at the end. Do you feel like this Ranger team, after going through last season, is better equipped to kind of take this division by storm and really start going with it? Because their pitching seems to me to be pretty great to start.
Yeah.
If their hitting catches up, this has got some serious potential to really put this division in the rearview mirror as they get going.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of inevitable that some of these guys in this lineup are going to start heating up. I mean, Jock Peterson has an .055 batting average right now. I mean, that's just not going to stay. And I'll realize.
Are they gonna pay him to go away? If it does, he's not known for that. He's too good for that.
Yeah.
That's
guys like Semien too, 140 average, that's just not going to stay. And there's just so many guys in our lineup that once they're hot, they can carry the rest of the team. And when you have, 5-6 guys like that, Seager, Langford, Garcia, even guys like, Heim or Berger, you kind of have a lineup that almost supports itself the way it should. And I think that's almost something that we've improved on since our 2023 season, because now we've got Berger, we've got Peterson, and, obviously Langford, who I think is going to be really good this year.
Any teams in the American League West there that worry you or concern you off the bat? I know there's 3 games between all the teams, but is there a team that you still have your eye on and you're like, this would give the Rangers a tough spot?
I'm a little concerned about the Mariners because, last year they were really good. There's not like a ton of notable players. On their team, they have Garcia, they have Cal Raleigh, who is using the torpedo bat and hitting like 20 home runs right now. But they've been solid for a while. I think they might enter an Astros golden age that's a little bit toned down, but they're the only team I'm really concerned about. I don't think the Angels or the Astros are going to pose a real threat. I think the Astros have fallen off. I think I posted a comment about that.
Yeah.
One of your videos.
I believe that's how you stand. The thing that I look at with Seattle, and this is just tracking them through the years, is they remind me of my childhood book. And maybe you read this too when you were a kid, but The Little Engine That Could. I think I can. Yes. The only difference with Seattle is they get to the top of the hill and they don't make it over. I feel like they have a great year, and then right when they're about to get in the playoffs, or right when they get to the playoff, the first round series or the play-in game, they like totally just don't make it.
Yeah.
They're back to square one. But they're really exciting. Everyone gets thrilled when Seattle does. Yeah. The fans are great. That's a great stadium up there. It would be great to see them give Texas a run for their money and possibly a wild card. Do you see a wild card coming out of the American League West this year, or do you see the Central or the East gobbling up all the wild cards?
I think the Central and the East are going to gobble them up. I know the Orioles have had a slow start so far, but you also have the Red Sox and the Royals and the Tigers, and I think those are all, really competitive teams. Tigers have a lot of young talent, got guys like Torkelson, Riley Green. Royals, they're starting to get good now. The Guardians have some decent players. I just think that all the teams in the AL West, other than like the Angels and the A's, are just slightly above average, and so I just don't think they're going to make the cut. It'll be close though.
I think the AL East is also a powerhouse of teams.
Yes.
The Yankees, the Red Sox, Tampa, Baltimore, and then of course you have Toronto, who again I believe is worse than the Mariners in the I think I can train. But you're probably pretty excited overall about the Rangers start. I mean, they could be doing what the Braves did, which is really lay an egg for the first 10 games. Their schedule, would you say their schedule's been terribly difficult to start the year? I think the one thing that I've noticed in as far as hardest schedule, if I were to look at that, I think the Cubs have had one of the hardest schedules in the league, playing the Padres and the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, and they've just been playing all these top-loaded teams.
They're doing pretty well.
Yeah, and they're playing really well. Not only do they have a tough schedule, but they're legitimately looked to be running away with the Central and the National League. But from the Rangers' perspective, as far as the schedule, what do you think? It's so-so, playing some tough games?
So far it's been, you play the Reds, Rays, Mariners, Angels. I mean, it's all kind of, average teams. And you play the Dodgers and the Cubs, which have been really good so far. But we did not win either of those series against the Cubs or the Dodgers. So we really have yet to prove that we can, win a series against a solid team. I mean, we did sweep the Angels, but, they're the Angels, so what? We're playing against the Giants. We have a 3-game series against them, so I think that might break it. We might be able to get some offensive explosions there.
Yeah, I feel like the Giants are kind of the team in the NL West that look really good right now to start, but they're going to sizzle on down. Unlike the Rockies, who started on the basement, and they will stay in the basement. I think if you watch our last episode of SwingBadder, I believe I officially eliminated them from playoff contention, as they are
11 games
back already from the division, and they're not getting any better. I believe they have 4 or 5 wins right now.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah,
4-17.
4-17 to start the year, and I think we can just about call it, especially when you look at the NL West, which has 4 teams that are above 500, and the Rockies. And the worst part about that is the Rockies haven't played the teams in their division.
Oof, yeah,
so they haven't even. It would be one thing if they faced off against all the teams in their division and had a bad start. That's not happened. They've faced other teams and have had a bad start. So that's where we sit. Anything else exciting about baseball that you've noticed? I know you're watching quite a few teams, but the Rangers are who you're writing about, and I appreciate you putting those articles out there for people to check in, and I like the weekly recap, and hopefully we look forward to your comments on the articles or even this episode of SwingBadder, as we'll bring Aiden on once a week or every other week just to kind of give a refresh of how the Rangers are doing. He's a hometown fan there in Texas and been following them for many years. Very excited about when they won the World Series, and obviously it had to be against the Diamondbacks and not the Dodgers. So it would have been sweeter if another team had lost, but that's the way it goes. Any other teams that just kind of pique your interest, or you're like, that's a interesting start to the year? Player, team?
Honestly, the A's actually have spiked some interest in me. I mean, last season, I think I wrote about this in my article about the top 5 young players. The A's, after the All-Star break, had a record of 32-32, which is still only 500, but that's a lot better than what the A's have been doing these past 2 years. And so far, they're 10-12 so far, which is, it's not amazing, but it's not the White Sox, and it's certainly not the Rockies. And they have, a lot of good talent on that team. They've got guys like Jacob Wilson, who was a rookie who started off the season with like 13 games to the hit. You got Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler. I think it was Mason Miller, Bobby Miller. I keep getting it mixed up. They got that ace reliever. So they definitely have some talent on that team, and I think they could do something with it. Brent Rooker, if I didn't mention him as well. They've got some power, some speed.
Do you see the A's finishing above the Angels? Do you think the Angels are last place in the division, or do you think they can actually get to third and beat like the Astros in your mind? Because you got the Rangers in Seattle 1-2 right now.
I could definitely see the A's finishing third, put the Angels in fourth, and the Astros in fifth. That might just be biased, though, because I would really love to see the Astros completely fall apart this year. Jose Altuve has like the worst defensive season in left field ever known to man.
Well, the Astros have had a lot of good, so cheering for them to be bad kind of fits along with the batter sports theme, as if you ever listen to my father, he has teams that he's hated his entire life, Dodgers being one, and he just, every time they lose, I'll get a text and he'll say, it was a good day today. I'll go, Diamondbacks? He goes, Dodgers lost. And I'll say, okay, well, at least I know what puts a smile on your face, Dad. So he's always anti-Dodgers through and through. So you would be the same with the Astros. I think it also helps that you're in Texas and Houston is right there.
Oh, yes.
And then I think, I don't know if you remember Todd doing a whole bit on the Houston moms behind home plate in the playoffs. Like it was a Gap ad.
About this.
Oh, it was hilarious. He did an entire segment on Houston's fans are all Gap moms that are just standing by home plate. And they're not even paying attention. They're just socializing. Like, they're not even like, why do they have those tickets? Why can't they find real fans? And I said, well, at least the Dodgers fans know and pay attention. So there is that. So, yes, if the Houston doesn't make the playoffs, I won't miss them. That's for sure. It would be good to see Texas put it together. But again, got to have a lot of things go your way. You had guys missed out on health. I will say the one thing that is a very positive note, what's your plus minus currently today?
For the Rangers, let's see. I think it's minus 14. It has not gotten better.
So minus 14, you have a positive win-loss record, which means you're winning the close games. You're losing games by a lot, but you're winning the close games, which I think go a long way into a season. I think we'll track this through the year, but there's always that team that has the most one-run victories. And it just seems that no matter what, late in innings, they just get the right thing happens. The right DH gets called up. The right pitcher does the right thing. You get the right double play. All of those things happen, and it's just good vibes, if you will. So the team that has that, you just feel it, and it happens all year long. And I know baseball, as Dad and I always talk about, we always talk about the kind of there's no momentum in baseball because every game is different, a new pitcher, new lineup, if you will. But I always think there's like teams that just feel it. They just have that, I feel like we're going to be all right. So there's something to the confidence already, even having a winning record. And again, to your point, the hitters have not woken up yet. And
that's for sure.
And it's early. We haven't hit the month of May. I always say to my brother Todd and the Mets, cold weather doesn't suit them. They want to get into May and June, and then you get a better feel for things. Maybe Texas needs that warm 100-degree weather. Start really doing their thing. And yes, I agree. They're going to hit. They're not going to not hit.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
And the pitchers may not perform as high as they do, so you may win 7-6 or 7-3. But again, if your pitchers are performing and your hitters start hitting, that's just a recipe for greatness. And you just hope it all melts together at the end of the year. So this is a good time to be doing that, I would say.
It's one thing if they're starting off the season, 10-10, 11-12, and they're having this offensive slump, but their pitching's good. But no, they're like 13-9 right now. 13-9. So it's one thing if they're starting off average, but they're starting off cruising, even with all these, signs of potential weakness. But I'm liking where it's going.
I wouldn't be dismayed. I'd be pretty excited too if I was a fan of the Texas Rangers. I think there's a lot to look forward to this year. And obviously, I like to look at games in bunches of 10. I don't know if you heard me say that, but every 10 games, I like to look at that and see what they're doing. And so far in the two, I'd say we're 20 games in pretty much. So you have 2 wins because you're above 500. And even if you're 6-4 and 6-4,
that adds up.
12-8 is a good record. And then you're going to be in the playoff hunt. And when you're doing that fun stuff. So, and then, are you guys playing tonight, or did you play tonight?
We're currently playing the A's right now. I think we are winning 2-1. Yes, we are.
I got it 3-1 right now.
Oh,
in the minor league stadium, no less.
Yes, in the A's. They're in Sacramento, right?
They are in Sacramento in a minor league stadium. I don't know if you've seen any highlights, but I will say the minor league stadium the A's are playing in is not as nice as the one Tampa's playing in, only because Tampa is playing in the George Steinbrenner minor league stadium, and they have some really cool spring training facilities that are just unique, like we do in Arizona, where the fans get like right up on top of things. You have like cool tables, grass seating, things of that nature. And then speaking to the Cubs, they're facing off with the Dodgers. So, it's 10-9 for those, just so you know what we're doing live here, and we'll put the podcast out tomorrow so you can wake up and go, oh, this is who won, this is who lost, this is what it looks like. So, any closing thoughts? Anything you want to say? I know I didn't I hope I gave you a great introduction. You're one of our writers for battersports.com.
That's great.
You cover baseball. You'll be covering baseball throughout the year. And
for sure.
we look forward to your comments, and then we'll bring you on the show with Dad and Todd if we can, and talk to you about the Rangers. Have the close-ups, if you will, kind of dive into a little more detail than what we do on SwingBadder, where we cover everything. This way we can just kind of unravel the Texas Rangers a little bit and see what you're seeing, because you watch them a lot closer than I do, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So any closing thoughts or rah-rah moments for Texas fans?
Garcia certainly looks like... Oh, yes, there's another thing I wanted to talk about. Garcia. So kind of a final thought on Garcia. He's kind of changed into anti-Garcia. I wrote about this in one of my articles, but he's been swinging for contact over power recently. I mean, he leads the team in home runs with 4, which isn't a lot relative to the rest of the league.
Oh, by the way, if you would have said to start the year the most home runs so far this year in Texas would be 4, I would have said no way. You were going to have somebody hitting 6 or 7. But the fact you only have... That's the most home runs for Texas is a 4?
It's currently Wyatt Langford with 5, and I'm pretty sure he just hit that in this game against the A's.
So that's a low count for Texas, to your point about the offense. We're used to Texas offense. They know how to hit.
The situational hitting is basically how they're won. They're their first, 10 games. They would get like 5 hits a game. They'd barely hit the pitcher, but they just get them at the right time. It's kind of it's a way to demonstrate the power of clutch hitting, something that sometimes can be taken for granted.
So your point about Garcia, I interrupted you on the home runs because that was kind of shocking. He has 4 home runs, but you're saying he's hitting for contact more than he's hitting for power only. So he's kind of like...
Yeah, his strikeout rate is way down. I mean, I think recently he was in 12th place overall in the MLB for strikeout rate. I don't know what it is now, but that's still pretty impressive for that guy, because last year he was always known for chasing the high cheese and striking out on his extremely long swing, and he was just kind of falling apart. People were losing hope in him. I mean, me and my dad were talking in the car sometimes after, we'd listen to the Rangers game, and, it'd just be like, what are you going to do with him at this point? Because he's hitting like 210. He's not hitting the same number of home runs. He's just not doing what he needs to do, and now he's actually starting to kind of get back and have the best of both worlds, so I'm liking what I'm seeing.
I think overall, Texas, if they were worse this year than last year, that would be something. But I think last year's performance and then also having a World Series gives people kind of that, we got a team. They know what they're doing. They're going to come through. Yeah. So I think that always gives people that breath of fresh air. If you had lost in the World Series and then you had the year you had last year, I think people would be like, they'd be looking at every game going, come on, when are these guys going to start hitting? I don't think we have the right players, to your point. So there's kind of a calm nature, and I keep reminding people, especially in the sports world or in our world today where everything's the end of the world or the end times, baseball is a nice pace of play. You can go 2 of 8 or 3 and 7 for 10 games. Don't worry, you're going to go 7 and 3.
Yeah.
You're going to make that up unless you're the Rockies or the White Sox, where get used to it.
You will just get swept.
3 and 7, a good 10 spot for you, folks. Be happy if you get 3 out of 10.
Ugh.
Well, that's it. Well, check out the articles on battersports.com. Thanks for joining us on SwingBadder and the podcast, and we look forward to having you all season for baseball chat, and also to get some great insight for the Rangers as well as the AL West. It's always good to cover both divisions, as my dad is really into the NL West and you're into the AL West. So as always, I'm your host, Brendan, and that is our newest and latest addition to the Batter Sports Network. Always happy to have you. Thank you, Aiden, and thank you for listening.
Of course.